Hi everybody, I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion from the garage. Don't forget, coming up on Friday we'll have our live streaming show, and I've got some ideas that might provoke you to give us a ring. I hope so. This is interesting. Considering the rumours you hear that the upcoming election, probably within a year, will be fought on the issue of climate change. Well, it may or it may not be. But the Institute of Public Affairs has done a survey. Do you care where your power comes from? Well, if you haven't seen the story, overwhelmingly 84% of people surveyed don't. What people want is reliable, affordable power. They don't care where it comes from. You wouldn't really have to do a survey to find that out, I wouldn't think. I would think it's bleeding obvious. It's really the least we can expect because we've always known it. Cheap, reliable power. I wonder if they will want to try and fight an election on climate change when it's not up there anymore. Aggressive harvesting of confidential information by consultants. It's an interesting phrase, isn't it? Aggressive harvesting of confidential information by consultants. This is what has been said by various inquiries right up to the Senate with regard to consultants, government consultants, by which I mean the big four. I mean PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte, KPMG and Ernst Young. Although they don't call it Ernst Young anymore, I think it's called EY, isn't it? But that's who they are. Big operators. Anyway, a lot of chest beating, but not one attempt to do anything about this ridiculous shadow workforce, if I could call it that, costing $11 billion a year. We the people, the taxpayers, we are their biggest client. We pay $11 billion to these guys. This is on top of a huge and ever-growing public service. I mean, to me, God, it's simple. No more consultants. You're just not allowed to have consultants. You've got your ministers, you've got your whole structure, and underneath that you've got your public servants. You don't need consultants. Stop it. Ridiculous. Do I hear anybody saying that? Someone should. How about the opposition? Or would you want to continue the same nonsense? Maybe. The World Affordable Housing Ratings are interesting and out. It actually should be the unaffordable housing ratings, really. Hong Kong number 1, Sydney number 2. We here in Adelaide, number 9. Number 9. Australian cities are disproportionately represented on this global list, by the way. And I think the reason is that, for example, in America, you can get, and have been able to get for years, a 30-year fixed interest loan. Now that makes a huge difference to home ownership. You just have to pick the right moment to lock in, I guess. But could you imagine locking in when the interest rate a couple of years back was 0.1%? 30 years, 0.1%. Happy days. Speaking of happy days, Elon Musk pay package is worth a mention. Pete, did you see that? No. A remarkable $56 billion a year. This is even though the value of his company has plunged, which should be the key indicator, key performance indicator for everyone in an organization, and particularly the CEO, 56 billion, and it's not his money, it's the investors' money that he wants, because that ultimately is who's carrying the can. His electric cars are not selling. Masses of them stockpiled. I don't care what Labor in Canberra say. Masses of these things are stockpiled, not selling. Speaking of electric cars, you know how the government wants to, quite correctly, apply the what's in the best interests of Australia test to those criminals who want to stay in the country. Well, why can't they do the same when it comes to Labor's ideological obsessions, like renewables and, of course, electric cars, which we are being manoeuvred into buying? I told you that America had quadrupled the duty on cheap electric cars, 100% import duty. Now the European Union is doing the same. We don't have a car industry to protect. So the Prime Minister says, let her rip. And that's what's happening. Electric cars will be dumped on our market, resulting in their further devaluation. Look, it is clearly not in the interests of Australia to flood the country with cars that will have no resale value, can't be insured or repaired or even charged, and maybe even burst into flames. There's no logic, only blind ideology. If this next election, as I was saying, is to be fought on climate change, if I was the opposition, I'd say bring it on, because the Emperor has no clothes. What we do in Australia with regard to energy policy has no effect on global emissions. Yet it does drastically affect our cost of living and our standard of living. It's like the Labor campaign for the Voice. No logic, no truth, no common sense, no apology. And then to deny that their policy on renewables was not driving up the cost of electricity is just unbelievable, because that's the only thing that has happened since you and I enjoyed affordable, reliable electricity. And again, I'm tempted to ask you, are we going to let them get away with this? And all the time this is going on, at exactly the same time, the prime mover of all of this nonsense, coal, which has been demonized, we are not allowed to use this amazing resource for boundless cheap power. We are too busy exporting it to China, where they use it to benefit their people and power their economy, and oh yes, make cheap electric cars, which, according to Labor, if we buy enough of them, will save the planet. Which is not in any danger anyway. This is all so absurd. No, it's not absurd. It's insane. Totally insane. What else have we got? The insurance company, global, big insurance company, so big in fact they have their own airline. Why, I don't know, but they do. Allianz, they've surveyed the mental health of the workforce. It's a bit vague on which workforce or where, but anyway, they say 48% of us, 48% are stressed out, burnt out in fact. Now stress is something we all live with, maybe we need it to cope with life. It can be creative, even necessary. I don't know. You know, I've never walked into a studio and put a microphone on, or I've walked out on a stage and not been stressed. But you don't perform if you aren't under some kind of stress. It's, I think, in some weird way necessary. Now, whether doctors, surgeons, lawyers, judges, I don't know if everyone is stressed, but I think it has a place in terms of delivering a performance. Talk to me about that maybe on Friday around the dining room table. 0491 65 68 60 will get you right through. Bang. And the only reason if you ring and I don't pick up the phone is because I'm on another one, and we don't have a switchboard. We have a we don't have a Klotzvadis. Pete, we should get a Klotzvadis.
Whatever that is.
Oh, it's a mixing thing where you can take lots of calls and stack them.
Yes, we need one of those.
We need one of those. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. The E-Commissioner with Deakin University, together, they've been looking at the evils of social media. And I guess it's political correctness or something or other. Anyway, they've come up with the fact that there's a toxic message being sent to young men, particularly young men. I'd say young people. Would it help to restrict social media to people over the age of 16? What do you think, Pete?
Look, I think so. I think it would.
I can't see what people are stuck on a screen for, sometimes 10 and 11. How they get a smartphone at that age, I have no idea. I was out the back climbing a willow tree when I was that age. Social media, restricted to people over 16. Something else we might like to talk about if you want to ring me on it. 0491 65 68 60. Easy number to remember. Also, political donations to be banned in South Australia. Really? I don't know. I think you'd find that business organisations, you know, chambers of commerce, or I don't know, would find a way of funding ads to promote the conservative side of politics, as the unions would find a way to support the Labour side of politics. And I don't think you can stop people from doing that. I think it's our inalienable right to be able to express ourselves coming up to an election, as long as the proper declarations are made at the end of the commercial. The thing I worry about is that, you know, poor old taxpayers are going to be asked again to kick in for the campaigns for the mainstream parties. I don't know. Is that fair? I watched 7:30 the other night. I try to catch it because it is, I think, an important show. Certainly can be. Laura Tingle. I knew Laura's dad when I was working at 2GB. Nice guy. Interestingly enough, a conservative. John Tingle. Laura was talking to Dr. Monica Ryan, the independent Victorian. I think she's a teal. I think we can describe her as a teal. More and more and more climate change crap. Not an interview, a promotion, a love-in, a love fest, a disgrace, really. The ABC should be a beacon of intelligence and inquiry. Everything should be questioned. It should not be a loudspeaker for anyone, let alone left-wing rubbish. And Laura Tingle as a presenter, I don't like to get personal, but I don't know how she keeps that job. Don't know what she knows about politics, but she's kind of wooden, monosyllabic, somewhat stilted, hesitant presenter. Doesn't read an auto cue well. I don't know. It seems strange. The flagship nightly current affairs show She is a fill-in, I must admit, but you can't tell me that the ABC wouldn't have a phalanx of people who would be better at it than she is. The ABC can't expect these sort of programs to go under the radar. It must be that the management is in lockstep with this nonsense. Well, the ownership, that's us. We the people, we own the ABC, we pay for it. We're not. You can't prove or substantiate any of the rubbish that I saw presented the other night on climate. There is no logical reason for Australia to do anything with regard to climate change. Climate change is a perfectly normal, natural function. It's been going on for as long as the planet has been here. And there is definitely no crisis. Please, for God's sake. And you know this wonderful thing about net zero and all that stuff, you can never have net zero. What are you going to do about the 40% of methane, which is the most dangerous greenhouse gas in the world? 40% of methane is produced by wetlands and deltas. You know, what are you going to do about that? Fill them all in? It's all so bloody stupid. And just while I'm getting on my high horse, when will the people of Australia demand that when ministers and politicians appear, they do so in front of one flag? The Australian flag, ladies and gentlemen. Who gave these people permission to put those other flags there? The Aboriginal flag? I think we probably, under royalties and copyright, we probably have to pay every time it's presented. And I don't know about the Torres Strait Islander flag. Only 60,000 Torres Strait Islanders, and I don't think that entitles you to being a country or having a flag. What in God's name are we doing, letting these people or giving them permission to white ant our very nation? And come Friday, I do want to talk about this latest land acquisition by Aboriginals in Queensland. Hundreds of thousands of hectares. Now, we are literally allowing someone, authorising someone to give away our country. Are we asleep or what? Aboriginals have 55%, and it's going to be something like 75% by the year 2030. Are you approving of this? I certainly am not. I mean, the only land I think people should have is the land that he or she buys. What else is around? Complete change of course. Pete, what do you reckon a number plate's worth?
Well, I think I heard you discussing something.
I couldn't believe it.
I think that's insane.
I couldn't believe it when I saw it. It's some sort of record, but a number plate, you know, it's the thing that you got on the front and the back of your car. Nothing really special. Number plates are sold at auction. Highly sought after. This one sold for $2.5 million. $2.5 million. That was the number 20. And that was only in one state. So I think it was Victoria. The 20th car registered in Victoria. What the significance of it is, I don't know, to the person who bought it. Number plates are apparently a remarkable investment. Presumably, you've got to get the right one at the right price. But I've no doubt there are insurance or not insurance brokers, number plate brokers, who could put you on the right track. Here's a fun fact. Australia is the biggest purchaser, consumer, of clothes, clothing, in the world. Who would have thought that? There is a thing called fast fashion. And I think it's maybe fast because it sells so quickly, they have to make it very fast. It's almost throwaway clothing. But, can things go out of fashion as fast as that? I don't know. But to counter this, the French have installed a fast fashion tax. Now, this is applied to the manufacturers, but eventually, of course, it will be the consumers who pay it. I can see this government rubbing its hands together. A new tax. Wacko. Well, tax fashion. Some of it should probably not only be taxed. Well, you see, this is the thing about tax. If you tax it, you'll get less of it. If you subsidize it, you'll get more of it. We should have more control over, I don't know. If you go out and get a tattoo, you should be heavily taxed. I don't understand why people go out and get tattooed. You know, I was walking down the street the other day and I saw this young lady, quite beautifully dressed, and up and down the backs of her legs, which were quite good legs, were these tattoos. Well, you tattoo your legs for life? You know, and I'm assuming she would have been about 25 or something like that. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's my age. Pete, have you got a tattoo?
No, thank you.
Nah. June the 19th, ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday or happy wedding anniversary. I hope it's a nice day for you if it's a day of celebration. 'Tis a Wednesday here in Adelaide. Sir Joseph Banks died on this day in 1820. Botanist who came to Australia on HMS Endeavour with Captain James Cook. Pete tells me that Joseph Banks had a bigger cabin than Cook.
Yes.
His face is on the Australian $5 note, it says here. Whether it's still there or not, I'm not really sure. I don't think I've seen a $5 note for so long. I don't remember. Charlie Drake was born 1925. Charlie Drake had, what was that novelty song he had? My Boomerang Won't Come Back?
Was that him?
Yeah, Charlie Drake. My boomerang won't come back.
I waved the thing all over the place.
I waved the thing all over the place. Practice till I'm black in the face.
Big disgrace to the Aboriginal race.
Big disgrace to the Aboriginal race. But my boomerang won't come back. Dear oh dear. Sir Philip Lynch died. He was 50. Cancer. Formerly Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party. 1984. J.M. Barrie died. Scottish writer best known for Peter Pan. Mo Howard was born in Brooklyn, New York. Three Stooges, Mo Howard. Nyuk, 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 nyuk. I love the Three Stooges. 1897, Mo Howard was born. Godfrey Wynne died, heart attack. Actor, journalist. And that was in 1971. On the same day, in 1966, Ed Wynne died. He was 80. Same family. Actor. He was known as the perfect fool. Ed Wynne. Anne Deveson, very good Australian journalist, born in Malaysia on this day in 1930. I don't know if she's still around. 1982, Michael Parkinson's second Made in Australia series started Saturday nights at 7:30 on Channel 7. That's 1982. The first baseball game played in Hoboken, New Jersey. Do you know who else? Do you know what Hoboken's famous for?
No.
Frank Sinatra was born there.
Was he?
Yeah. Frank Sinatra was born in Hoboken. And Deutschland, the first Zeppelin airliner, was launched in 1910. Statue of Liberty arrived in New York from France in 1885. Channel 9 regular Richard Wilkins was born 1956. I'll give you one more. Marilyn Monroe married her first husband. His name was Jim Doherty. They divorced in 1946 but were married on this day in 1942. Oh, and Garfield the cat is having a birthday. Happy birthday, Garfield. Now, thank you very much for being with us, and I do look forward to your company around the dining room table come Friday. 3 hours of live streaming, jeremycordeaux.com. And you can call us. We've got music, we've got guests, we've got biscuits even. Different biscuits, or something nice to eat anyway.
And a glass of wine?
A glass of wine later in the day. About 11:30 we can open a bottle and have a glass of wine. I'm allowed 1 glass of wine a week. Dear, oh dear. Anyway, I look forward to seeing you on Friday, or talking to you hopefully on Friday. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton and I will be back next week on Tuesday and Wednesday with our posting and our podcasting. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.